Hello, I'm Sandy, founder of Just Travel with Sandy, and help women over 50 move past travel overwhelm so they can explore the world with confidence, ease, and joy. And I also work as a travel advisor, which I'm super excited about. I'm a new travel advisor, even though I've been travel for people for so long, but now it's official. And I curate meaningful, stress-free trips for my clients from start to finish. And this is the podcast where we talk about real life travel, how to plan it, enjoy it, and grow from it without the stress or perfectionism. And I've just written a book, and the book is a memoir, part travel guide, part memoir, but it's really a candid look at how travel really has shaped my life and how it can transform yours too. And today I have with us Wendi Giuliano. Is that how you
Giuliano.
pronounce it? Giuliano?
Giuliano.
Wendy is a multidimensional entrepreneur. I love that. I've never heard that term, but I love that. And she's all about the power of energy, intention, and making meaningful connections. She uses various skills and tools on a daily basis to support others as they navigate their lives. And she enjoys travel. She loves travel like so many of us, right? And
Yes.
so, Wendy, thank you so much for being with us today. I really, really appreciate you taking the time. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and, travel, how it came about that you love travel and what about travel, do you love?
Yeah. So I grew up with travel as a kid. My dad was a farmer. So we had time while the crops were growing, I guess you might say, during the summer months to take a family trip every year. Sometimes that involved pulling the camper, and sometimes that just meant jumping in the car and traveling across the country. We didn't really fly a whole much, but it was really jumping in the car and taking 2 weeks out and going different places. So that kind of exposed me to it. And then, I got in college and I didn't do a whole lot of travel then. But when I got out of college, I started going then to Europe. And so I had friends that have been there and I just loved it. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my travel. And I just love traveling. And for me, I'm kind of I've had a corporate job for most of my life, and so again, travel sometimes can be difficult when you have a corporate job, right? I was in sales and marketing, and I um, didn't do it as much, but now that I'm an entrepreneur and have more freedom and flexibility, I try to do it as much as I possible. And one of my gigs, you might say, in my entrepreneurial life is that I get to travel too with a women's organization. So, which is how we know each other. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So you said the older I get, the smarter I travel. I love that. What does that mean to you?
So, first of all, it means not packing so much stuff, right? Like,
Right?
I remember going to Europe, Paris, with this suitcase that's probably not even allowed anymore, and it was jam packed. The wheels broke, and here I am, not speaking French, dragging this big thing across the country, and on trains and all the things. And so, yeah, that is one thing that has really shifted with me. But really, more being more intentional about my travel. And
Mhm.
what does that mean? It can mean different things for everyone, but for me, it really means like what do I want to accomplish on this travel and how do I want to show up? What's my intention behind that? What's my energy going to be like? And so I always like when I'm planning the trip, I don't take the most economical flight. I have a preferred now carrier that I always book with so that I get bonus
Same.
points and all that kind of free upgrades, all the good stuff, right? And I also look at like where I want to stay. What does that feel like? Is there a lake? Like I like to do Airbnbs a lot now because is there a lake that I can walk to, or is there somewhere I can put my feet on the ground and get some grounding before I do my travels? And if there's like a conference or something that I'm going to, I go a couple days early, get myself settled in and into the vibe of the location and maybe explore a little bit so that I can show up fully for a conference. So those are just some of the things, but just being way more intentional
Yeah.
with how I travel.
I had to laugh when you said you carried that big suitcase with you because out of all those outfits, you probably didn't wear
Yeah.
80% of them. We've
You
all
don't
been
need,
there. We've all
yes.
done that. I totally agree with you. In fact, I'm leading a group to Ireland next week. Gee, yeah, next week. And I wrote an email and I'm like, travel light.
Yes.
Travel light. Like, because we're going to be moving around a little bit. So travel light. And then it's always good to leave some room, right? Because we like to bring something back. When I go to Ireland, because my ex-husband's from Ireland, we go, we used to go to Ireland all the time. There's always a few things that I like to bring back that I can't get here. So leave a little bit of room too. So that's so true. And the intentionality, right? It's for me, that's a big part of it too. And it's not necessarily just about the destination itself or the sites, or it's about the bigger picture, right? It's about immersing yourselves into the culture and, being more present with the people, right? Because that for me, that's truly what it's about. So
Yeah.
I love that you said the intentionality. Yeah. And so, since you're in the field of, healing and energy and all that good stuff, do you do anything to protect your energy while you travel?
Yes. Lots of things. So
I'd love to hear what you do.
So some of that
That's really
space that I've taken away for clothes, I've added things and tools that I carry. I would say my spiritual toolbox, maybe. Like I
I
have
love that.
crystals, I have my oracle cards, I have room clearing spray, I have different things like that that help me just to protect my energy. One of the things too that I have is this frequency device, and I always do a biogenic boost, like kind of an immune booster before I actually get on the flight, so that again, I don't want to, like, so many people, like, you never know what's going on the plane, right? People
Right.
coughing and sneezing and all that kind of stuff. And so I just do that frequency for myself to just protect myself, so that then when I land, I'm still like have energy and I don't get sick very
Mm,
rarely at all those good things.
right. So, what is it to your frequency? What is it a tool? What is it?
Yeah, it's a device out of Germany called the Healy, and so it has like
Ah,
millions of
okay.
different frequencies on that for different things. And so I have one of those when that actually they came over to the U.S. I was a little
I've heard of those actually. A friend of
okay,
mine in North Carolina actually mentioned that to me before, but I've never seen one. I've only heard about it. So, and since I'm from Germany, I said to her, I'm like, oh, German engineering. It's
right,
like,
right,
but it's true, protecting our energy. So I don't have that, but I do agree with you. I mean, I protect myself with crystals too, and just, you know,
essential
I
oils,
actually, yeah,
right, all
exactly,
the good stuff, right?
and lavender I also take on the plane because I've actually have sat next to people who are incredibly anxious, fear of flying, and the lavender just helps calm a little bit. So lavender is just a really, really good one. So I love that, and
Yeah,
it's so important to protect our energy. And then the people, if something goes wrong, not on the flight, but if it's delayed or whatever, people get all bent out of shape, right? And so
yeah.
it's like it's
That's
calm. There's
that's another thing that I just really don't get too upset about anymore, because it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to work out anyways. And so just go with
exactly.
the flow, and it will, you know,
Yeah.
it'll be the way it's supposed to be.
And don't yell at the agent because the
Oh
agent
my God,
can't
that
help
doesn't
it.
help
You know,
anything.
I know. I see that all the time, and I'm like, the poor gal is probably just as, or gentleman is probably just as flustered as you are, because yeah, it's really interesting. Humans, we learn one thing I've learned a lot about humans during travel, good and bad.
That's so funny you say that. One of my trips to Hawaii, I was with my sister at the time, and we were sitting at a restaurant, and we were just talking. We were sitting at the bar area because the other area was kind of full, and we started talking to the bartender, as most people probably do, and we learned that he had gotten married to a woman that he had met like a year ago, and their first date was going to Australia for a month, and they figured if they were going to like each other and be able to do this whole life thing, that if they did that, it would be solid. And I'm like, that is so amazing. And when you think about it, when you see couples in the airport and on vacations, and they're fighting, right? Like that's a true thing because you're out of your comfort
Hmm.
zone, you're out of your element maybe.
Right.
Things are happening that you don't have no control over. And I was like, that's kind of brilliant. Why didn't I think of that?
That is brilliant. That's amazing. So you just touched on Hawaii. Hawaii is one of your favorite places to
Yes.
travel to, is that correct?
Yes.
Tell
Specifically, the islands of Maui and Kauai. Those are the ones that I really love. One of my first trips, I've been to Oahu in the 1990s and whatever, but Maui, I think it was like 2017, I went there. And I don't know, there was something that just clicked when I got off the plane. I smelled the plumeria, like everything just like, I felt like I was coming home to a place I'd
Hmm.
never been. And
Yeah.
like it's just magic. And I've had Reiki clients that I do remotely while I've been there because one year I spent a whole month there, and
Hmm.
like magic has happened in those
Yeah.
Reiki sessions, right? Like there is I think, a vortex in that area, and I just like, yeah, I I was meant to live there, or I have lived there, and I'm going to live there, or
Going to
whatever
live.
that may be, right?
Right. I can totally relate to that though, because that's exactly how I feel about Italy. It's like I'm from Germany, I'm born in France, I'm in Italy, and I feel at home. It's like the first, and I remember the first time as a child. Even as a child, I remember loving it. Like I didn't really have that feeling because I didn't really know what it was, but that's how I feel in Italy. So I totally get that. So how often have you been to Hawaii?
So let's see. So eight, 10, almost 10 times.
Oh wow. So any plans to go back?
Oh yeah, I'm going back
I
this
mean,
November.
just yeah, I meant plan. Oh, okay. This November. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And do you usually go to the same place or do you travel around or
So I've been with the group is how I started, and then so I also manifested some things. So I've gone back. Friends that I've met there or lived there at the time have introduced me people that needed dog sitting. So that's
uh,
one trip. I went back for 2 weeks and watched their dog, and I mean that was like the most beautiful opportunity ever because I
I
love
believe it.
animals too.
Yeah.
But then I'm going, last year I went to Kauai, and that was my first time there. And I
Okay.
really, totally different vibe than Maui. And I kind of liked it. It's kind of like the, I don't know, mountain cowboy vibe, and lots of hiking opportunities. Not that there isn't on Maui too, but that's where I'm going to go back this year then.
Okay. Nice. And dog sitting, like that's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I'm not doing that this time, but I'm
But
open.
yeah.
If anyone listening that lives there and needs
I'll come
a
dog
pet
sit.
companion, I'm signing up.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii a couple times too, and there's definitely it's got its own energy and its own pulse and its own vibe. And for sure that's but it's I love the way you said you've just felt at home because, I totally get that. I totally get that. So you say, one travel destination that's changed you. That's Hawaii. I take
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have any so do you have any other places that you would like to travel to that you haven't been yet? Or do you just like exploring other places in Hawaii or even going back to Hawaii? Like, what does that look like for you?
All the above. I wish there were an opportunity to just continue traveling, maybe in
Yeah.
my future life,
Yeah.
nomadic, and just be
Yeah.
going from one place to the next. I have been to Europe and England and Scotland and France and different places there. We have my husband's from Italy. He was born and raised there, and we haven't. We attempted in March of 2020, but we all know what happened there, so we didn't
Yeah.
go back. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like Bali and that kind of that area is also known as a vortex of energetics, and I kind of want to check that
Mm-hmm.
out as well. So I'm open. One of my best friends also loves Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like I'm sure I would love it once I get there because I'll find it something I love about wherever I go, right?
Right.
I
Right.
was um just recently in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I guess I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't have any idea like there were so many hiking opportunities, and
Right.
I didn't know what to expect, and I went hiking and did all those things, and it was great.
Yeah, yeah. I used to live in Chapel Hill. outside of Raleigh, and there definitely is a lot of that. And then you go to Asheville in the mountains. There's a lot to do. What about Sedona? Because I mean, that's a
I
very
know.
I love Sedona. Like
I have
I
not
love
been there
Sedona.
yet either, but it is definitely on my short list for sure.
So powerful, like the energy. I was there the last time in December. Yeah, gosh, it's already June. Like it's crazy. Six
Yeah.
months gone. But I was there I was going to say a couple months ago, but it was December, so it's a little more than a couple months. And that's a place you would definitely love.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I'm sure I would.
absolutely. So how do you think like travel has shaped you? Like, has it opened your eyes to certain thing? Has it changed you? Like, how has it shaped you? I guess shape is a good word.
Yeah. Will definitely open my eyes just to different ways, different, like you said, different cultures, the people. I like interacting with the people, finding out not necessarily always the touristy places, but the little hidden gems. And you only find those by talking to people, which is kind of fun. And
Right.
it really has given me a more global perspective of everything is everything is different for everyone. And, yeah, I just, I don't know. I love it. I guess I'm curious. That's what it boils down
Yeah.
to is I'm curious and I like to learn. And that's when you go to some place you've never been before. Again, Maui I've been multiple times, but there's always something new to discover, even though I've been there how many times, right?
I agree 100%. I actually was saying that to a friend the other day who said to me, "Well, you've been in Florence like how many times?" I'm like, "I know." But every time I go, I see something new, I smell something new, I experience something new. It's like every time is the first time. It's like, so I totally get that. I 100% agree. And there are some people who always go to the same place and some people who like to explore. And I think everything because like you said, even if you've been to a place multiple times, it's still always there's something new to see and do and absolutely
And
um
we're evolving as people too, right? We're more personal development or professional development.
mhm.
We're in a different stage of ourselves too, so we're also going to see maybe the same things we've seen but in a different way.
Absolutely, absolutely, especially as we hopefully all grow, right? Or strive to grow. It does seem different. I mean, I look back, so I was raised about 4 hours from Paris, and in Germany the upbringing is a little different. Like at 15 we'd take the train and go to Paris for the weekend. It's just different. And
Yeah,
so we'd go, and 4 hours on the train I was in Paris, and obviously I saw it totally different as a 15-year-old than I do when I go back
right.
now. And Paris is still one of my favorite cities. So it's in the book, but my parents actually met in Paris, coming from completely different walks of life. And I'm not going to get into that. But so Paris, just in a lot of ways, and then being raised there. And, my daughter spent her first year, she went to NYU at the Paris campus. So she spent a whole year there. So I don't know, it always keeps coming back. I just love Paris. And I'm planning a trip in September. So if if a woman, for example, because I come across a lot of especially women who haven't done much travel, who really don't know where to start, and who maybe are a little, I don't want to say scared, but there's some fear around solo travel, which is my favorite way to travel personally. What would you say to somebody, a woman who would say to you, I really want to travel, but do you have any advice for me how to make that happen for the first time on my own?
Well, reach out to Sandy. I'm sure she can hook you up. But there's other people that have specifically, and I don't know if you specifically have this, but women solopreneurs. So it's a bunch of women who want to travel, but not by themselves, but they are by themselves. And there's groups that are specifically designed for that, right? So that
Hmm.
would be a recommendation. Or heck, if it's someplace great, let me go with you. I'll be your little buddy, right? Travel buddy.
Right,
But
right,
there's something about traveling by yourself. I love it too because I don't have to answer to anyone else's expectations or desires or any of that stuff of what we're going to do or what we're going to see or how
right,
and then it also gives a lot of flow because I don't often have like a full itinerary that I need to follow from all day, and into the night.
right.
I think why I love it is because of that, but also as I age. it just is going to keep me going. It's going to keep
Mhm.
me on my toes because you have to do a lot of coordinating to some degree and be flexible with getting a rental car, driving in a different
Mhm.
area, staying by yourself. I my lineage of my family, they live until they're 99. And I want to not be in my house from 70 to 99. I want to be out there seeing the world, doing things I love. And
Love
by
that.
solo travel, it just pushes you out of your comfort zone little by little until you start to, yes, every time I go someplace new, and I might know how to drive, but now I'm starting to like learn the gadgets on the new cars because I don't have a brand new car, that you push a button
Right.
to do this and you push a
Right.
button for that. But I'm learning, and the more I continue to do that, the more comfortable I am to continue to do that, right?
I love that. And that's so, so true because as we get older and just sitting at home, I mean, keep the brain alert, and
Yes.
I don't want to do kudo. That's supposed to be good all day long. It's like that's not my idea of fun. So keeping your brain stimulated and going and even like I'm in the process of at the very beginning learning Italian because my goal is one day to move to Italy, but also because it just keeps your brain going and yeah, so that's great. That's great. So is there anything there's a little butterfly here. Is there anything that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap it up today, Wendy?
Maybe when you think about traveling and you're booking your thing is maybe always check in with your energy before you check in your bags. Like what I want to create, what how do I want to show up? And that would be a tip, I guess. And then just go with the flow.
I love that. And don't forget your lavender.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Wendy. So
Thank
thanks
you.
everybody. Thanks for being here with us today on Just Travel with Sandy. And I really hope that today's episode gave you a boost of inspiration and some practical takeaways about Hawaii, about protecting your energy as you embark on the journey of travel. And if you've loved what you heard, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe, share with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women like you find their way to confident and joyful travel. So until next time, keep dreaming, planning, and exploring with heart. And always remember every great journey starts with a single step. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.